Anubis is the Egyptian god of mummification and the afterlife, as well as the patron god of lost souls and the helpless. He is one of the oldest gods of Egypt, who most likely developed from the earlier, and much older, jackal god ฮ่ᴑᴜ, with whom he is often confused. Anubis' image is seen on royal tombs from the First Dynasty of Egypt, circa 3150 to 2890 BC, but it is certain he had already developed a cult following prior to this period in order to be invoked on the tomb's walls for protection. He is thought to have developed in response to wild dogs and jackals digging up newly buried corpses at some point in the pre-dynastic period in Egypt, circa 1600 to 3150 BC, as the Egyptians believed a powerful canine god was the best protection against wild canines. Depiction and associations. He is depicted as a black canine, a jackal-dog hybrid with pointed ears, or as a muscular man with the head of a jackal. The color black was chosen for its symbolism, not because Egyptian dogs or jackals were black. Black symbolized the decay of the body as well as the fertile soil of the Nile River Valley, which represented regeneration and life. The powerful black canine, then, was the protector of the dead who made sure they received their due rights in burial and stood by them in the life after death to assist their resurrection. He was known as First of the Westerners, prior to the rise of Osiris in the Middle Kingdom, 2040 to 1782 BC, which meant he was king of the dead. In this role, he was associated with eternal justice and maintained this association later, even after he was replaced by Osiris, who was then given the honorary title, First of the Westerners. In earlier times, Anubis was considered the son of Ra and Hesed, associated with Hathor, but after his assimilation into the Osiris myth he was held to be the son of Osiris and his sister-in-law Nephthys. He is the earliest Egyptian deity depicted on tomb walls and invoked for protection of the dead, and is usually shown tending to the corpse of the king, presiding over mummification rituals and funerals, or standing with Osiris, Thoth, or other gods at the weighing of the heart of the soul in the Hall of Truth in the afterlife. A popular image of Anubis is the standing or kneeling man with the jackal's head holding the golden scales on which the heart of the soul was weighed against the white feather of truth. His daughter is Khebet, also known as Kabashe, who brings cool water to the souls of the dead in the Hall of Truth and comforts the newly deceased. Anubis' association with Nephthys and Khebet emphasizes his long-standing role as protector of the dead and a guide for the souls in the afterlife. Name and role in religion. The name Anubis is the Greek form of the Egyptian Anpu, or Inpu, which meant to decay, signifying his early association with death. He had many epithets besides First of the Westerners, and was also known as Lord of the Sacred Land, he who is upon his sacred mountain, referencing the cliffs around a given necropolis where wild dogs and jackals would congregate, ruler of the nine bows, a reference to the phrase used for traditional enemies of Egypt who were represented as 9 captives bowing before the king, the dog who swallows millions, simply referring to his role as a god of death, master of secrets. Since he knew what waited beyond death, he who is in the place of embalming, indicating his role in the mummification process, and foremost of the divine booth, referencing his presence in the embalming booth and burial chamber. As his various epithets make clear, Anubis was central to every aspect of an individual's death experience in the role of protector, and even stood with the soul after death as a just judge and guide. Scholar Geraldine Pinch comments on this, writing, Anubis helped to judge the dead, and he and his army of messengers were charged with punishing those who violated tombs or offended the gods. He was especially concerned with controlling the impulses of those who sought to sow disorder or align themselves with chaos. In the early dynastic period, circa 3150 to 2613 BC, and Old Kingdom, circa 2613 to 2181 BC, Anubis was the sole lord of the dead and righteous judge of the soul, but as the Osiris myth became more popular, the latter god took on more and more of Anubis' attributes. Anubis remained a very popular god, however, and so was assimilated into the Osiris myth by discarding his earlier parentage and history and making him the son of Osiris and Nephthys, born of their affair. According to this story, Nephthys, Set's wife, was attracted by the beauty of Osiris, Set's brother, and transformed herself to appear to him as Isis, Osiris' wife. Osiris slept with Nephthys and she became pregnant with Anubis, but abandoned him shortly after his birth in fear that the affair would be discovered by Set. Isis found out about the affair and went searching for the infant and, when she found him, adopted him as her own. Set also found out about the affair, and this is given as part of the reason for his murder of Osiris. Although Anubis is very well represented in artwork throughout Egyptian history, he does not play a major role in many myths. His early role as Lord of the Dead, prior to assimilation into the Osiris myth, was static as he only performed a single solemn function which did not lend itself to elaboration. As the protector of the dead, who invented mummification and so the preservation of the human body, he seems to have been considered too busy to have involved himself in the kinds of stories told about the other Egyptian gods. Stories about Anubis are all along the lines of the one Geraldine Pinch relates above. Worship of the god. The priests of Anubis were male and often wore masks of the god made of wood in performing rituals. The god's cult center was in Upper Egypt at Sinopolis, the city of the dog, but there were shrines to him throughout the land and he was universally venerated in every part of the country. Although he does not play a major role in many myths, his popularity was immense, and as with many Egyptian deities, he survived on into other periods through association with the gods of other lands. The Greeks associated him with their god Hermes, who guided the dead to the afterlife. His image is still among the most recognizable of all the Egyptian gods, and replicas of his statuary and tomb paintings remain popular, especially among dog owners, in the modern day.